Welcome to day 1 of lesson 8.1. This is to simplify algebraic expressions using the distributive property. This is something that you will continue to use throughout your math career, so you want to make sure that you stay up with it and that you ask questions when you have them and take some good notes here. So the distributive property, and we talked a little bit about it in chapter 1, you learned that instead of adding 2 plus 7, then multiplying by 3, you could distribute, and think about distribute as hand out the 3 to everything inside. So you do 3 times 2, 3 times 7, and then add them together. So that is something that you can do now that when we have algebra, variables in place of numbers, since we can't add x and 3 together first because they're not like terms, we use the distributive property to simplify an algebraic expression. So you multiply 2 times x and 2 times 3, and then you'd simplify. So 2 times x is 2x, 2 times 3 is 6. So this means that the expression 2 times the sum of x plus 3 and 2x plus 6 are actually equivalent expressions, because no matter what x is, the expressions have the same value. They will be the same. Think about equivalent as equal or same. Alright, so to simplify an expression is to perform operations to create an expression with less terms. Okay, so remembering that terms are ones that look alike. So for example, 2 plus 3 plus 4, these are 3 different terms, but I can combine them to get 9, so it's simplified because it's 2 less terms. Here, if I did order of operations, I would get 3, or I can distribute. So I would have 3 times 4 minus 3 times 1 minus 9, which would give me, this is the same as 12 minus 3 minus 9, which is 9 minus 9, which would be 0. So simplifying that. So notice the reason distributive property works. So we just showed you this. If I did the parentheses then multiply, so then I would get 3 times 9, which is 27. But if I distribute first, I get 6 plus 21, which is still 27. So it will work. Notice now, I can't do what's in parentheses because these are not like terms. They can't be combined by adding and subtracting. So I have to use distributive property to simplify this. So I get 2x, and then 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Some things you'll look out for today are this negative in front. You have to realize that's negative 2 times x, and that's negative 2 times negative 3. So you get negative 2x plus 6. And again, this was me using distribution. So use the distributive property to rewrite each expression. So there's some examples here. Number 1, we distribute the 4 to the x and the 7 for 4x plus 4 times 7, which is 4x plus 28. So this is the simplified version of this. Here, notice 5's on the other side. It's still being distributed or handed out to everything on the inside. So I get 5y, y times 5, 2 times 5, 5y plus 10. Your coefficient always comes before the variable when you write it. So why don't you try some of these, pause, and then come back. So I do 6 times a plus 6 times 4, which is 6a plus 24. A lot of common mistakes with distribution are that people take it to the first number but then forget the second one. You have to distribute to everything inside the parentheses. So 8 times n plus 8 times 3, which would be 8n plus 24. Simplified. And one more, negative 2 times x. Negative 2, you could do plus negative 2 times 1 to be negative 2x minus 2. So our integer rules from chapter 1 really play a part here. Okay, what about when there's subtraction involved? We saw this a little bit already. Again, you may have to go back to at lesson 6.1 to multiply integers. So some people just change it to a plus sign. So remembering that p minus 5 would actually be the same as adding the opposite. So instead of subtracting 5, you can add a negative 5. And then still distributing 6 to both things, getting a negative. And then again, remembering that adding the opposite is the same as subtraction and rewrite it. Okay? So your option is that you can change it to addition and then change it back to subtraction later. I'll show you one like that and then one just kind of the quicker way if you think of the numbers separate. Use these examples, have them written down, and then maybe try these ones on your own. So I distribute, this is really 3, I'm going to change it first, so I'm going to add the opposite. So it's 3y plus a negative 10. Distribute the 3, so 3 times y plus 3 times negative 10 would be 3y plus positive times a negative is a negative. And then adding a negative is really just subtraction. So the simplified way to write it would be 3y minus 30. So you can change it to addition first by doing that. So again, we get negative 7 times w is negative 7w. Negative 7 times a negative 4 is negative 7w plus 28, because a negative times a negative is a positive. Here again, you can add the opposite. Negative 9 times n plus negative 2 times negative 9. Negative 9n plus 18. Had I not changed it, so for example, if I had negative 2w, let's make that positive 2, minus 4, I could still just distribute 2 times w is 2w, and then think about it as 2 times a negative 4, which is negative 8, and that kind of saves you some steps. Try these, and you can come back if you need to. So this is negative 2 times 3y, and then I plus a negative, so plus negative 2 times negative 8, which would be negative 2 times 3 would be a negative 6, and the y stays, plus negative 2 times negative 8 is a positive 16. So again, then maybe if I don't change it to add the opposite, I'm going to stay like this and show you what to do. So that's 5 times x, which is 5x. Think about that, 5 times a negative 11 would be a negative 55. So some of you might not be ready for that, but some of you are, and that's okay, as long as you're showing your work with the arrows. Negative 2 times 5y, negative times positive is a negative, so it'll be negative 10y. Negative times a negative is a positive. So hopefully that went well for you. Try to go back, do some extra examples if you need to use the book, rewatch the video, personal tutors online, iExcel, and all that good stuff. We'll see you soon.